Hello and welcome to the second game of this series between Dissonant, who is down here once again as the Guardians in this sort of pretty purple colour, versus TigerStyle in the red playing Renegades this time. This is for the 8-bit Ladderwars March tournament, in case I didn't say that already, hosted by our friend Netput over at Game Replays. And it's an interesting choice. I'm already kind of struck by the fact that TigerStyle would go for Renegades rather than playing another game as Cranioids. Or, I mean, if I expected him to change factions, I would expect him to have changed to Deathsworn, the other faction that he's very well known for playing, although he does say that they don't really have many tools right now. So I would be quite surprised if he played Deathsworn outside of maybe a comfort pick, maybe later on. So Dissonant, just going with a very standard thing. He doesn't have to worry about that strong invaders early game screwing him over right now. And TigerStyle doing very similar, very standard build. This is a very interesting situation, as this matchup I would argue is pretty close. But there are different ideas from different people of which side is favoured. Some say Guardians are favoured, some say Renegades are favoured. Most people, I think Guardians are favoured, but the amount that people think it can vary. I, for one, think that it's sort of, you know, quite a close matchup, but Guardians are slightly stronger in the late game. Some people think that Renegades literally cannot win against Guardians because they will just get to this disgusting late game with their big heavy drones and always win. That's a battle that I will let happen in Discord and not speak too much on. But we have some nice movement out here from Dissonant. Once again, trying to be out there on the map at least a bit. Not sure how much he will manage to do against Renegades. Renegades have even though they might not make a big army, they have a pretty solid early game. As long as they don't let rocket cars run up into their base. But these rocket cars have now been seen. They've done damage to one harvester who they won't kill. I don't think it was super smart to hit that. I think he should have come straight in here to try and deal with these, because it would have been he would have been much more likely to actually get some. He still might hit one here, but if he doesn't, you look at the damage that the other harvester took, that would be a dead harvester if he had immediately focused on the one, rather than trying to hit this harvester a bit as he comes across. But this second group, which it would have been nice if it came out a little bit earlier, like while TigerStyle was still dealing with this preferably, is going to hit here, and with this many, will probably take out at least one. Oh, good micro there from TigerStyle. Is going to save it for a bit longer, mean that the harvester still dies, but he manages to take out more of these rocket cars, and Dissonant now has a small force here. An interesting, oh whoops, a slight what's it called? Rally error there. Interesting, there he is going for that air, but I was going to say interesting how long it has been with Dissonant not going air. He's definitely showing his aggressive tendencies here by pushing those rocket cars up rather than or pushing more of those rocket cars out specifically, rather than going straight for the third tech and these heavy drones. He is now popped out a light drone, which he'll probably use just for scouting, and if he sees that helicopters are coming, which they are, he might make a few of them just to try and make sure that there's no timing before he gets enough heavy drones that TigerStyle can push in with. There are a few helicopters here going out to harass. I don't know if Dissonant would have spotted them, even if he was concentrating. It would be very close if it was. And this standoff over the bridge, the typical standoff, which often happens on this map. He now knows that there is an attack in his backline and is sending some light drones to go and deal with that. 2 light drones will deal with one of these choppers. Could even hit both these choppers if they are lucky. If they are clumped up like this, they will. And as long as he hits the other one, he could take it out. But I don't think he will. Yeah, there'll still be one chopper there. light drones are, as Zerton would like to remind you, much cheaper than choppers, so that was still probably a good trade. And these snipers are doing a lot of work against the choppers that are still there. Artillery going to do a decent amount against the small amount of infantry that are in there, and these scorch tanks are going to get chopped down by those rocket choppers. Oh, and there are more. There's another harvester gone down there. That's not a huge harassment, but I like to see that Dissonant is still staying active. TigerStyle's economy is being kept down to 2.5 refineries for most of this game, while Dissonant has been consistently on those full 3. Oh, Scorch Tank's getting right up into that army, going to be doing a lot of damage. And backing off as he pushes a bit too far over the bridge and doesn't have the support from his snipers. He needs those snipers to be there to back them up to take up these rocket choppers, and now he's got some heavy drones. And heavy drones have the advantage of being able to do a good amount of damage to both infantry and tanks with the machine guns and the rockets that they have, and really are probably the strongest unit you can get out in this matchup, other than heavy tanks, which we'll rarely see. And Spectres out here now as well. Spectres with that heavy damage, going to deal with everything very well. And only artillery really left on the ground for TigerStyle, so this isn't looking too good. There are some choppers coming around the side here. I haven't seen any more harass from Dissonant, but he's still on 2.5 bases here. Actually, oversaturating this space. Hopefully he will. He's made those 2 extras to come over here though, and I think he hasn't realised quite that one of these harvesters is meant to go over here. But he is now setting himself up for a decent economic push. I don't know what even that is, but he's setting himself up for a good economy for the rest of this game. Although he has powered himself, unfortunately, with the creation of that new canned refinery. And I'm assuming that Dissonant will place a refinery down at one of these 2 points, and there we go, very soon, to also get himself onto that late game 4 refinery economy, seeing as each of them do have their first refinery about to finish off. Good sniper defense there, making sure that no rocket choppers can come into this base, although it wouldn't matter all too much if rocket choppers took this out, considering... Oh, sneaky Spectres. Gonna try and come around here. They have been spotted now because there are rocket droppers there. So they're gonna try and do some damage. Seemingly just random things here. Gonna try and take out this this motor pool, which might be the only motor pool for him, but it doesn't look like it's gonna go down. I would have liked to see them just run in here and take out some of this stuff, but I mean it is empty now. And he is pushing in on the front side of it. And heavy tanks. Good to see heavy tanks, although on their own they're not really going to do much. This army still isn't here and isn't ready, and he's lost 2 of his heavy tanks now before the rest of his army has got here. And there are a lot of Spectres down there and a good amount of heavy drones. Some siege artillery come in here to back this up. With this huge range. Are they shooting from that range? Siege tanks really do have a ridiculous range, but it is meant to be there at least to make up for their atrocious damage numbers. There is a counterattack of helicopters going on in the back here. Unfortunately, Spectres do not shoot up, and so Dissonant has lost a refinery here, although once again it is a refinery that was almost out already, and he has set up this refinery here. TigerStyle has a bit more left in this refinery because he only had one harvester mining for it for so long, and apart from that he is only actually on this refinery now, which is also almost out. He is now stuck with 2 refineries to the 4 of Dissonant, although one of Dissonant's just got blown up, so 3 of Dissonant's now. Army wise, Dissonant is starting to look ahead now. A lot of this is in siege artillery, which in a straight fight isn't actually incredibly good. But as long as he doesn't throw away this group of Spectres, I would definitely say he has the upper hand in this fight. A lot of these artillery are also now not going to do great. because they are mainly made for killing infantry. Spectre's now just exploring around the space, seeing what they could kill the most usefully, and he is going for this tech again so that he can't get any more heavy tanks out. And if he does manage to get that, it would be worth it, but no, I would have liked to see maybe moving back here and taking on this refinery. But I mean, it would have been very effective if he had gotten that out. And TigerStyle's economy is already in quite a shambles here. He's trying to build this, but you can see by how slowly that's building that he's actually entirely out of money here. And that on its own might be enough for Dissonant to take this. Just a stronger economy management with more of these refineries up here and a bit less harassment coming in from TigerStyle. These artillery could get these snipers down pretty quick, but against the ball of the Spectres, it's more the heavy tanks, I believe, doing the damage, and the choppers. There is this big ball of heavy drones is going down quite a lot, though. That doesn't seem to have been such a great exchange. I really am not used to seeing just how effective these heavy tanks are against air. I've heard that their air tank is their strongest, but you very rarely actually see these in a game that isn't already entirely won. There's a lot of defense back here, I suppose, to stop chopper attacks, although I'm not sure why you'd be too worried about them being here unless they're just going to blow up your base or whatever. I think this might be a bit too much. Oh, he's rallied here, so this was only his amount to defend. That's only a small mistake then, because he can still grab these and move these around. There are choppers here trying to find something. He I guess thought that Dissonant would be up here because he is, but Dissonant has chose to take these further forward refineries first, which leaves this side of the map quite clear for him to take in the later game. Whereas if they do get this to an even later game, this will be a downside for TigerStyle, that he has taken all the further back safer points and would have to push up forward with his refineries later on. Little spot of the Spectres there. Are they going to manage to take out this this radar? It looks like it, but it's going to be close. They might be able to hold this. Yes. Oof. Two very, very close snipes on important tech that we've seen happen now. Although, by the looks of it, TigerStyle hasn't replaced his highest tech from when it was taken out. Oh my lord! Now this is the ridiculousness of siege tanks. He probably couldn't even see that. He knew it was there because he'd seen it before, but that was just alt firing into fog of war, and just one hits that building. That is crazy. I would love to see Dissonant push up maybe to one of the sides, either down here or up onto this high ground, and do more stuff like that and keep being active with this, because that could really put TigerStyle onto even more of a back foot than he has already with this economy. But I think Dissonant is just sort of being safe. Presumably he's realised that TigerStyle's economy is not in the greatest shape from seeing all the harassment he has done. TigerStyle is actually on 2 refineries over here now, while Dissonant is on... I think he's going to take this third soon, but he is actually on 2 right now as well. But he already has this significant force made up. As long as he doesn't throw away too many of these siege artillery. Remember, these siege artillery, even though they're a huge in number, aren't actually that good in this fight. And as we've seen, even this small number of heavy tanks can destroy these heavy drones if they get in too close, and they are taking a lot of damage. But, I mean, the army overall just seems too much in number. Couple of shots going a bit wild. This is the problem when you have such a long range. Your their auto aim will find random things to shoot at sometimes. But yeah, that's all of TigerStyle's army dead, and looks like a one game here from Dissonant. Good work to the boy. I'm assuming in the next game we will see a faction that TigerStyle is perhaps more known for. It was a good game though. I mean, I don't know. It's an interesting fight. It is strange to pick into a matchup where you probably know that in the late game you are behind, but maybe TigerStyle thought he could pull it off.